Good afternoon. This is Matthew Vance again with the Holiness Heritage Sunday School Literature. Coming back to you with another Sunday School lesson. I apologize I had to miss last Sunday. I had my second COVID vaccine and made me extremely sick last week. So I wasn't able to be online. So I apologize for that. But glad to be back with you today. May 23rd, 2021, lesson number 12. The importance of godly friends. The importance of godly friends. And our theme, this story illustrates vividly the importance of having godly friends, not friends of evil character. A friend can be a blessing or a curse. Our golden text, make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man thou shalt not go. Proverbs 22 and 24. All right, we're going to read a couple of different places today from 2 Samuel and Proverbs and 1 Corinthians. Let's start at 2 Samuel chapter 13 and verse 1. And it came to pass after this that Absalom the son of David had a fair sister whose name was Tamar, and Amnon the son of David loved her. And Amnon was so vexed that he fell sick for his sister Tamar, for she was a virgin, and Amnon thought it hard for him to do anything to her. But Amnon had a friend whose name was Jonadab, the son of Shimei, David's brother, and Jonadab was a very subtle man. And he said unto him, Why art thou, being the king's son, lean from day to day? Wilt thou not tell me? And Amnon said unto him, I love Tamar, my brother Absalom's sister. And Jonadab said unto him, Lay thee down on thy bed, and make thyself sick. And when thy father cometh to see thee, say unto him, I pray thee, let my sister Tamar come, and give me meat, and dress the meat in my sight, that I may eat it of her hand. And then we're going to jump to Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 10. My son, if sinners entice thee, consent thou not. If they say, Come with us, let us lay wait for blood. Let us lurk privily for the innocent without cause. Let us swallow them up alive as the grave, and whole as those that go down to the pit. Cast in thy lot among us. Let us all have one purse. My son, walk not thou in the way with them. Refrain thy foot from their path, for their feet run to evil, and make haste to shed blood. And then 1 Corinthians 15 and verse 33, Be not deceived, evil communications corrupt good manners. Well, we're going to look today at this story from the Bible, which is a very wicked story of what happened, very graphic story. But what actually happened is not going to be the primary focus of the lesson. What we really want to look at is the man Jonadab, the friend. Amnon had a friend that influenced him to do a lot of the stuff that he did. And so we want to talk about the importance of having godly friends. The importance of being around godly people and avoiding evil associations. There no doubt could be thousands of people that on the epitaph on their grave could say they had a friend. And oh, if you could just talk to him today, they'd say, if I'd have never known him. If I would have never met him. Well, we haven't been able to change who we meet or who we haven't meet, but we can change who becomes our friend. And the making of our friends can either make or break our spiritual life. Well, let's look at the first point of the lesson. Amnon had a friend. And Amnon already had problems. Amnon already had a spirit of lust for his sister Tamar, this immoral desire. The Bible said that he loved her, But that really did not mean he had tender feelings towards his sister. Amnon, as you read through it, it becomes very clear that he had a carnal, physical, lustful desire for his own sister. And the Bible said that Amnon thought it hard for him to do anything to her. He knew it was wrong. He knew he shouldn't be doing it. He knew it wouldn't please God. He knew it wouldn't please his father. And so Amnon felt a moral restriction that he could not act upon what he wanted to do. This immoral desire, in fact, the Bible said it so vexed him that he fell sick. He so got tied up in this lust. And how many young people, even older people, have mistaken lust for love? They fell in love with him, but really all he wanted was to violate them. He fell in love with her, but really she just wanted to be like that harlot in the book of Proverbs that took him with her eyelids, met him on the corner, and in his heart he thought, oh, I'm in love, but it was a sensual, sexual lust. And in the world, everything promotes fornication, adultery, all types of perversion. If you read magazines and books and listen to music and if you watch things or advertising, it's all being promoted by sexual immorality. We're being bombarded by it every day. And you listen to country music. This is one of the reasons why I think holiness people probably don't have any reason to listen to country music. Probably don't need to, because it promotes falling in love with someone, and it's always, normally all the time, falling in lust with them. Amnon was vexed. He had this obsession that got a hold of him, but the Bible tells us that even though he had restrained himself, now I want you to notice Amnon's friend did not make him do what he did. It amplified what he already wanted to do. Here's one thing I'll tell you about friends. Friends, if you want to live godly, you want to live closer to God, you get the right kind of friends, they'll help you live closer to God. You get the type of friends that want to go to church, the type of friends that want to get together and have a prayer meeting or get together and do something spiritual. They will amplify that desire that's already in your heart. But you get the type of friends and you have a carnal streak in you, and you get the type of friends like Amnon did, you'll find that they end up amplifying the sin or the desire that was already in your heart. And that's why it's so important. We're all going to battle things. Now, somebody who tells me that I never am tempted, I don't believe that person. We are all going to have temptations. Hey, it may not be the same thing. It may not be lust. It may be other things. But we're all going to have temptations. And so if we can keep ourselves where our friends are not people who will amplify the bad, but we can get friends who will amplify the good, we'll be in a whole lot better shape. Now the Bible says here about Jonadab that he was a very subtle man. He was crafty. He was conniving. He knew how to commit evil. And I'm afraid there's been a lot of people, a lot of young people, a lot of older folks that never planned to get involved in immorality, never planned to get on drugs, never planned to drink, but they became friends. Now listen, a lot of affairs start with a friendship. They become friends with somebody who is very skilled at what they're doing. That young lady that you've become a friend with, sir, that secretary that knows how to inflate your ego, that knows how to tell you she wishes more men were like you and her husband was more like you. She knows what she's doing. You listen to me, lady. That man that tells you, I'd like to listen to your problems because I care. I have time for you. He's not your husband, but he knows what he's doing. He has one end goal in mind, and that is to violate your purity. But you watch him. Those type of people are very skilled. They know what they are doing. Jonadab noticed that Amnon was lean from day to day. He knew there was something wrong. He goes to asking him about it. Why are you lean from day to day? Tell me what's happening. And Amnon said, I love Tamar, my sister. I love her. Now, this wasn't real love, obviously. But I want you to notice that Jonadab tells him, he lies against the truth. You're the son of the king. You can do whatever you want. There's nothing wrong for you. If it feels good, do it. What's the matter with you, Amnon? He then encourages him in his lust. He encourages him. And then he advises him on how to act on it. He tells him, here's the scheme. Allow yourself, pretend you're sick. Have your sister come in. And of course, if you read on in that chapter, you'll find that Amnon sinned against his sister. And Amnon committed terrible, terrible things against his sister. But the peer pressure from Jonadab, that pressure of that friend that pushed him and pressured him to do something that he knew that he shouldn't be doing. We talk about peer pressure among teenagers, but even adults feel peer pressure. They want to fit in, the co-workers, the family members, the neighbors, even church members. They want to fit in. And peer pressure can be good or bad. Good peer pressure. You ought to live better. Encourage you to pray. Encourage you to study God's Word. Encourage you to be a witness. That's good peer pressure, that they're encouraging you. But bad peer pressure, such as what Jonadab did here. Amnon might have never done what he did except for this friend. Now, I want you to notice this does not excuse Amnon for his sin. It does not get Amnon off the hook. In fact, Amnon ended up losing his life over this. When his brother Absalom found out what he had done, his brother Absalom ended up killing him over this. And I can imagine as Jonadab stood back and Jonadab said, I told him he shouldn't have done that. I told him he shouldn't have. Jonadab was his cousin. Jonadab was one that grew up with, was a friend, but somehow the Jonadabs always seem to get off the hook. The ones that put you up to it, the one that hands you your first cigarette, the one that hands you your first weed, the one that hands you your first alcohol, the one that hands you your first dirty magazine. Somehow they never seem the one that gets in trouble. But Amnon is left hanging out to dry and ends up losing his life over this. And that brings us to the second point of our lesson, the power of friendship. Now, we are created to be social beings. God looked at man in the Garden of Eden and said it's not good for man to be alone. God said, I want man to have others around him. It's normal to have friends that share our joy and our sorrow and interest, our activities. That's normal. A hermit is abnormal. Someone who isolates himself from everyone, and someone who's a loner. That is what is abnormal, because we are to be social beings. But we have to be careful of the type of friends that we hang around. Now, there's different levels of friendship. Number one would be just an acquaintance. Someone we met, we know about, we occasionally contact. I have a UPS driver here that comes nearly every day to our business, and I know him by name. If I run into him in Walmart, we wave and say hello. He is an acquaintance. He is someone that if he quit driving for UPS, we wouldn't see him very often. The mailman, the lady that works down at the convenience store, they are acquaintances. But then they're at a level beyond just acquaintance, and that's the casual friend. That's the one that maybe we work with or go to school with or live in the same neighborhood. We didn't choose to work with them. We didn't get the job because of them. We didn't go to that school because of them. We didn't move to that neighborhood because of them. It just kind of turned out that way. And so they become casual friends. When someone's sick, we bring them a dinner. When something happens, we speak to them and maybe even occasionally have some sort of social function. Sit with them at a church dinner or go out at lunchtime at work, whatever it may be, casual friends. But then there's a close friend. And that is those that we choose to put into our life. Our acquaintances we can't always choose. Our casual friends we don't always choose. But our close friends, these are the ones that we bring into our life because we have a common goal. We have something that draws us together. Whatever it may be, whatever chemistry that draws us together, and we become close friends. We meet them once a week. We go on vacation maybe on occasion, or find out good, take them to dinner sometime, or whatever it may be. But these are people that we choose. They're not forced on us. And right here is where we need to start watching the line of what type of friends that we have. Are they godly friends? Are they friends? Let me ask you this. After hanging out with them, are you more spiritual? After being around them? Or at least, are you not less spiritual? Maybe you can go out to dinner with them, and maybe you don't have a prayer meeting the whole night, but you don't come home more carnal. You don't come home in worse shape than when you went. They're close, and right there's where we've got to start watching the type of people that we hang around. And then number 4 are those that are our intimate friends. Not intimate in a sexual manner, but intimate in a closeness. And they tell me that most people only have 2, 3, 4 intimate, close friends in their entire lifetime. You think of David and Jonathan. The Bible said the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David. David loved him as his own soul. Nothing perverted about that. Jesus said we should love our neighbor as ourselves. And Jonathan loved David. He knew that David would take the throne, but he knew it was God's will. And there are very few that become those intimate friends. Those ones that at 2 o'clock in the morning, when your wife is in the hospital, those ones that a lot of times they end up being our family. Mom and dad, our spouse. My wife is the best friend I've got. My wife is my very best friend. And my dad and my mom and my children are very good friends. If they weren't kin to me, probably none of them would claim me. But they're those intimate friends. And I've got a few preacher friends, some minister friends.
Brother Pettit in the Philippines as a missionary that I would call one of my intimate friends, very, very close friend. There's other preachers. I won't start calling names or I'll end up leaving somebody out that thinks they are one of my super close friends. And I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but there are those that we have been just such close friends with. And those especially need to be ones that have the same goal of living for God. They're the ones that need to have the very same desire of wanting to work for God or live for God or be a child of God. Paul says there in 1 Corinthians 15:33, be not deceived, evil communications corrupt good manners. That word communications literally means your associations. Your evil friends can corrupt those that are pure. Proverbs 22:24, make no friendship with an angry man, and with a furious man thou shalt not go, lest thou learn his ways and get a snare to thy soul. Psalm 1:1 starts out, blessed is the man that walketh not in the counsel of the ungodly. He's walking. And then it says, nor standeth in the way of sinners. He's not just walking by, but he's stopping and talking to them. And then says, nor sitteth in the seat of the scornful. So it goes from an association, walking, to standing, to sitting. He's become friends with them. And we have to be careful about those that we make our good friends, that they don't ruin us, that they don't try to amplify the things that the devil is already working on in our heart. Now, I didn't mean you got to ignore co-workers, neighbors, family members because they're not saved. I don't mean that at all. I don't mean that at all. But I'm going to tell you, your unsaved brother may not be the best friend you can hang around all the time. Your co-worker that you share an office with may not be the one that you need to be the closest to. You might need to find someone who believes like you do. Friendships are not predestined. You know, friendships are not something that friendships are chosen. Friendships are something that we work on, that we take our time with. An ancient philosopher made the statement, we carefully examine a pottery vessel worth only a few cents for possible defects, while little or no care is given to the choice of friends. We become friends, and the more we're around them, the more we like them, the more we around them, the more closer we get to them, until we find ourselves close friends with someone who is not helping us, who is not leading us. John Wesley, as a young man, made the following resolution. He said, I will only choose for friends those who will help me on the road to heaven. Those who will help me. And what's the value of real friendship? What's the value of it? One of the greatest joy in Christian life. Some of the great friends you have. I've had some wonderful friends over the years. Those that I have got so close to. Godly friendship is a real treasure because the love of a friend. The Bible said that a friend loveth at all times. In the good times and in the bad. When you need encouragement, when you need rebuke, a friend will love you. And a friend will help you. The Bible said two are better than one, for they have a good reward for their labor. For if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he hath not another to help him up. How valuable is it to have a friend? How valuable to have someone when you're down and alone and you need someone to help you. I went through a time in my life recently when I really didn't know what I was going to do. And there were several ministers that texted me or talked to me almost daily. They would call me, they would text me, I'm checking in, I want to know how you're doing, I want you to know that I'm praying for you. I recently went to a meeting and I was a little anxious about going, a little nervous, and I went to the meeting, and when I walked in the door, I met Brother Lloyd Shoecraft, one of the first people I spoke to, and when I walked up and shook his hand, he said, Brother Vance, I want you to know I've been praying for you already this morning. I'm telling you, having a friend, having someone who will stand by you if you fall, that'll lift up his fellow, that'll encourage you, that you can make it. And the counsel of a friend. How valuable is the counsel of a friend. Ointment and perfume rejoice the heart, so doth the sweetness of a man's friend by hearty counsel. Iron sharpeneth iron, so a man sharpeneth the countenance of his friend. I've had friends look me in the eye before and say, now Matthew, you need to get your act together. I remember years ago, a very close friend of mine walked up and said, Matthew, now you're going to have to straighten this up. You're going to have to fix this. And oh, how valuable that was. Oh, how valuable to have someone that I knew wasn't out to hurt me, but someone I knew that was there to help me. To help me. I want to have that kind of friend. I want to be that kind of friend. I've developed friends all over the world. I've got friends in the Philippines that I talk to weekly. I've got people here that I talk to that have been a friend to me. And I want to have those type of friends, and I hope and pray that I can be that type of friend to someone else. But let's not forget about the greatest friend a person can have. There is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. Jesus, the Bible said, having loved his own that were in the world, he loved them unto the end. John 15:13, greater love hath no man than this, that a man lay down his life for his friends. The greatest friend that I've ever had is Jesus Christ. I'm glad for the friends I've had down here. I'm glad for those that I've been able to call my friend, that have been my friends, that are still my friends. I'm glad for them. But most of all, I'm glad for Jesus Christ. The Bible said, for he has said, I will never leave thee, nor forsake thee, so that we may boldly say, the Lord is my helper, and I will not fear what man shall do unto me. What a friend we have in Jesus. The importance of having Jesus as a friend and being a friend to Jesus. How many ever had a one-sided friendship? You did all the calling. You did all the giving. When they needed to move, you brought the pickup truck. But when you needed to move, they were nowhere to be found. When it was their turn, your phone never rang. That's a one-sided friendship. But I'm going to tell you something, having Jesus is not a one-sided friendship. You can love him and he'll love you back. I don't want to be the bad one-sided friend that takes his love and don't want to love him back. I don't want to be the one that accepts his friendship and is not a friend back. I want to be a friend to Jesus. There's an old song I heard him sing when I was just a kid. It talks about within the halls of Pilate, he stood without a friend. I'll be a friend to Jesus. My life for him I'll spend. I'll be a friend to Jesus until my years shall end. I want to be a friend to the Lord. I want to watch my earthly friends. I want to make sure that my friends here can also be friends with my best friend, Jesus. Hallelujah. All right, Lord bless you. Thank you for watching today. We'll plan on seeing you next Sunday, Lord willing.